Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes for Kai. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. After a bit of a quiet week last week, we are back reviewing Cult-De-Sac. And yes, the title is a pun, but I like it. And I know we shouldn't just judge things by their covers or their silly puns. There's more to comic books than just that. And it could be clever and funny to have that title, but it doesn't make the comic book clever, funny, or good. There's a few things that put it very much in the positives of being good, though. Number one, Ignition Press. At the moment, they are firing all cylinders. One of my regular customers had this on the poll. He loves Ignition Press. I'm willing to give most of their stuff a try. This one I'm glad I did, for a few other reasons than just that. Cullen Bunn's involved. He is one of the best horror writers out there. I'm consistently frustrated and feel kind of bad bringing it up sometimes, but I don't think he's done anything as good as Harrow County. But that is a masterwork. Like, there's other really good horror he's done, quite a lot of it in my collection, single issues, trade paperbacks, I've got quite a bit. He is a good horror writer, and I like his horror sensibilities. Fico Ocio, apologies if I mispronounced that name, I've only ever seen it written down, is an artist I'm aware of, but don't really follow too much. I did a very, very quick little click on a link, and it's like, oh, he's done some stuff I read. Cool. But it's the creator and the horror of it, which is really what grabbed me in. Because unless this is your second or third video of mine, you must know by now how much I like. I mean, hell, to be honest, if it's your third video, chances are I've already told you how much I like horror by now, because I go on about it at length. But horror is a wide brush to paint with. There's an awful lot of subgenres within there. Some I like more than others. One subgenre which I really do enjoy is folk horror. This does feel like it's going in that direction, but American, US-based folk horror doesn't feel as like authentically gripping as I'd like it to be, because you need a long storied history of folk mythology to play off with. That's why European stuff tends to work a lot better. And yes, it's a very easy, lazy joke for a British person to say America is a fairly new country. It isn't, but it is built on imperialism and colonialism, so you can take European folk horror and use the elements of that, or you can just totally make things up, totally fine as well. I think the movie Passenger came out not too long ago. That had elements into of folk horror. It starts as scary stories, what people may believe happened, and then building on it to create a horror. That works fine. Or the more dodgy one, you play with native and indigenous histories, and I feel like that's a very dangerous path to go on. I just did a tabletop role-playing game a few years ago which had native history and mythology, and I was very, very careful to only explain it from the point of view of white people not understanding what the hell they were talking about. This one, I think, is going for just making it up, with a hint of Satanism and cult worship, obviously Cult-De-Sac, but that works absolutely fine for me, because one of the core principles of it is it's involving a homeowners association, and somebody who is from England, never lived anywhere that had to worry about this kind of stuff, I'm very grateful for it. It sounds horrible. All I've seen about it is that it's horrible. It is a product of consumerism and capitalism. It's basically municipal areas basically palming off actually doing a job by getting people to pay for it, but then that involves payment structures and hierarchies, and as capitalism does, it becomes a problem of who has power over who else. And yes, it's not explicitly horror that way, but it is still a terrible situation and a terrible thing to do if you're getting forced into it. You can't go and watch John Oliver's take on that. This one does all that, and it leans quite heavily into it being kind of weird and creepy, and then at the end we get this wonderful reveal. Fantastic art by Ocio at that point. He had stayed fairly true to life for a lot of this. Fantastic colouring, really nice, scratchy line work, very vibrant, very vital art, but it still feels it's just about people living in a nice place in America. The creepiness comes slowly. Everything has to look as normal as possible, so when you get the reveal at the end, you are shocked by it. And I like that. It worked very effectively. But I've got to say, the thing that made it stand out to me, after all the things I've said I really liked about it, it is characters, because character-based stories are the way forward. And we have a bunch of really good characters here. There's a couple which are, I don't know, a little bit flat. The two children fall into stereotypical children moving into a new area kind of roles. There's nothing particularly new or exciting inventive there, but they're doing a job. They are there to move the plot in ways that make sense for their characters. That's fine. The two adults are considerably more interesting. The wife very much is trying to externalize the ideas of happiness, forcing it into an American dream shape, but is clearly going through a whole bunch of other stuff and is trying her best to hide it, to cope, and that is certainly going to come out down the line. And the dad, well, he feels like every lazy version of male power fantasy hero in a terrible action movie brought to life, but I don't think he is. I think he thinks he is. He certainly talks like he is. puts on the whole aesthetic and everything. His wife takes a mickey out of him for it. And I think Bun is going to lead quite nicely into this idea that no, we are not those people. They exist as fantasies, but do not believe that is the way of the world. And I believe Cullen Bunn can pull it off, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Really looking forward to the rest of it. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.